What's poppin', gods and goddesses? I hope all is well with you guys out there. You are now linked into House of Harlem Studio. And as usual, I'm your host. I didn't leave, I didn't change. Kia L. And behind the scenes, I got my header Shaka L Bay. Once again, talent is in the room. We are so excited to be having a convo with this guy. So we're honored for him to come up on the platform and bless us with some information and most importantly, some new music. So what's your name? Where you from? What's your set? What you repping? How you doing, brother? Awesome, awesome. The Bronx, New York. New Yorkers. Yes, yes, yes. Do you mind if I just call you Sway? Is that okay? Is that how you pronounce it? I am. Thank you so much. Well, Mr. Sway, you definitely I heard some of your music, dope music. You are a very you have your own unique sound in my opinion. And it's just a breath of fresh air to hear that. And I definitely look forward to hearing more. So, well, just in a nutshell, what got you started into the music world?
I started really young. I started writing when I was about, I think 11, 10, 11. The reason being is I used to read a lot, right? So I was moving constantly. I was constantly reading books, every Harry Potter book when I was real young. I was just a little nerd and I used to get, bullied and stuff like that. So
Oh,
my way of expressing myself was straight through the writing, which, it eventually evolved into like a more purposeful thing. It started becoming more music,
mm-hmm.
started becoming to outlets. So that's kind of why I make the type of music I make
Mm.
still.
Very interesting music too, but very current and up to date. Wow,
Thank
well, first and foremost, I gotta say sorry for all those bullies out there. You know what I'm saying? But look what they created. They created greatness. You know what I'm
you. Character,
saying?
you need to bring.
And there's nothing wrong with being a nerd, right? Nothing wrong at all. So, so you said you were moving around. Uh, you moving around, did that also, have a influence on your music? Because now you get to be around different cultures, you get to be around different ethnicities, you get to be around so many different type of genre of music, right? Because I know not every area was the same that you moved in. So how
That's,
influential was that?
that's a very good point. I mean, subconsciously, it probably had more effect than I it did consciously.
Right.
It was more, not to get sad or anything, but it was a more it was traumatic experiences. Like each time I had to move,
Mm.
it wasn't like, oh yeah, we're moving to a new place. It was more like you know, like
Aw.
damn, I just started making a friend. Now I gotta. It was that type of thing. So I really didn't. I don't think it influenced me in a positive way, consciously, like straight out. But I think subconsciously, it definitely had a huge effect. So many different communities, different people, different experiences. I was living in Italy at
Wow.
one point when I was like 5 until I was 7. So I think all of that it definitely subconsciously brought a lot of
Right.
like I got to experience so many different people's worlds. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think agree.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. So obviously, when you were younger, it wasn't a great thing for you to be moving around. But now that you're older, do you kind of like regret it still? To regret it, or do you kind of like embrace and say, "Wow, you know what I mean? Look what all of that moving create. Look what it created."
I think now I look at it as a positive thing. I have a
Mm.
daughter, so I look at it now like I want to provide some form of stability to my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of made me see what
That's okay.
instability can do. Number one, number two, it makes me see like I got to see the world, man. I've been so many places. Like I've heard that there's people that haven't even left America, haven't
I
even
know that.
left their hometown. So I feel like it's definitely a positive now that I look back on it.
Right. Well, that's amazing. And I'm happy that you see it that way. It's interesting because some people just love to move, 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 and travel and experience different things. But maybe because of the bullying, and that's probably what made it so hard. But
Yeah.
however, you've overcome it, and we're happy to see that you're okay because sometimes it affect people and they just can't move past it. So, what type of artist do you consider yourself? Like you're a hip hop artist or you're R&B artist. Like, what type of artist do you consider yourself?
I would definitely say, as of right now, a hip hop artist.
Okay,
That's my main. The that's the number one thing I create whenever I'm, writing lyrics and stuff like that.
right.
Mostly a hip hop. I wouldn't even put it in any specific category of hip hop. I'm not a conscious rapper. I'm not a bar rapper. I mean, I hate those. I hate those.
Those
Those.
titles.
Yeah, boxes you in a way. But I feel
Hmm.
like I'm a hip hop artist. I think I'm definitely trying to expand. Like I'm
Right.
as a producer, I've produced R&B, I've produced EDM, like I produce some real crazy stuff. But as a lyrical and stuff, yeah, definitely hip hop artist.
Dope, dope, dope. You just got me thinking. Right. So there's different what people. Some people do label different categories within hip hop, but like something like country. You could have like country hip hop. Is that correct? Like, do you think like that can exist, or that's like a whole different genre in itself?
Nah, that could, like, if you think about Lil Nas X, like he started
Wow. Yeah.
for country hip hop,
Right.
which I'm not into that shit, but I feel like
You're right.
you know out there that want to hear it.
I love your authenticity. Like, I'm not into that book. Well,
Lil Nas,
he definitely did it, and I don't know, cause I'm not a music expert. Some people may say that was dope, and that was creative, and some people saying that's BS. But that's neither here or there. You know what I'm saying? So obviously you started at such a young age, but when did you feel like, okay, like this is gonna be my career? Because I just feel like certain careers, woo, you got to put the extra step in it. You know what I mean? You got to put the extra step, and some people may consider this like a gamble. You know what I mean? And
yep,
some people may consider not a career at all. So at what
exactly.
age did you say, what, this is going to be it? Is all or nothing?
I remember like the exact moment.
Ooh,
My daughter, maybe 3 4 months. I was 19, and I was at the point where I was like, all right, you're either gonna take this serious or give up completely. This is not gonna be a hobby. This is either gonna be the complete path that I'm taking, and this is it, or it's gonna be something I give up. And I just went the route where I'm taking it as serious. I took it as serious as I could. So at 19 years old, my daughter was born. Is when I doubled down and started looking at this as like, this is my
ooh,
life. What anyone says, no matter what. It's, I mean, even people now who ask me like, oh, what do you do?
right,
It's all, I'm a musician, I'm a rapper. Like,
right.
you know
And
what I
like,
mean?
get
But
out of here. You know what I mean? Like, are you serious? That's what you do? Yeah. And it's like, people don't take you serious sometimes because of that, which I feel like is unfair. Is art. It definitely can make you money, but you just got to network, and obviously, first and foremost, you got to have the talent, and you have both. So you're good at it. Shout out to fatherhood. Shout out to fatherhood, because I'm hearing that because of fatherhood, you took this even more serious. You know what I'm saying? So shout out
yeah,
to fatherhood, man. I feel like sometimes the fathers don't get their praises enough. So at that point at 19, you're like, I'm gonna do this. I'm definitely gonna do this. What was
okay.
what is one of the songs that you made that was like the breakthrough for you? That's like, okay, now this is on a professional level. This is gonna hit some charts.
I was trash for a very long time, so
I love him.
I,
Okay.
I was, and like up until
He said I was trash for a very long time. He's being very honest.
yeah,
Up until that 19, when that baby came out.
that was bad. Like, I don't know what made me think that. All right, I'm gonna take this serious. It was just wasn't good at time to take it as serious as I did. But I
Hmm.
think take it serious as I did, like it started, putting something in my head. But I mean, maybe 2 years ago was the first
Hmm.
really big song. It hit like it's about to hit 500,000 streams. It did a
Hmm.
lot of cool. Like it really went up. And before that, actually, I got to work with Red Bull. Like they flew me to Cali to be a part of the show called The Cut.
Right.
So I think at 24, 25, 23, 24, 25 is when I was like, oh shit, this is not like some far off dream. This is some shit that could really happen. Cardi B like randomly retweeted one of
Right.
one of my joints off of my old Twitter,
Al
and I was
Cardi.
he's super dope. But at that point, I realized like, oh, like I'm on some divine timing type shit. You know what I mean? Like I think this could really happen.
Wow, that's just amazing, man. That's amazing. That's how talented you are, and it's always an amazing thing to see your growth, right? So you go from trash to like, yo, I'm killing it right now. I'm killing
Yeah.
it. So who are some of the who are some of the people that kind of like influence you in a way? Because I'm always asking about the top five or whatever, the top like who are your top five MCs, but like who are some of the people in the music industry, whether they're like high stream right now or not, that influence you?
I would say my I wouldn't. I, I don't really like. I do have a top five rapper list, but I feel like they have not influenced me as much as my like top five artist list. So I'll
Mm,
just do. I would say Nina Simone,
ooh,
Andre 3000.
awesome.
As weird as John Lennon,
Okay.
Kendrick,
Ooh, Kendrick,
and
yes.
I, J Cole. J Cole, but I feel like J Cole slash Jay Z, if that makes sense. Top six, if anything.
It makes sense because it's your list. But let me tell you
But
something. Like, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not a psychic, but I had a very strong feeling because you look like your appearance, you look like a J. Cole type of vibe, and I had a feeling you were gonna mention him. Now I take it that those are some of the people that you would want to work with, right? Like what?
I mean, except the deceased ones, but definitely, like, if I could work with, above all else, Andre 3000, it would be like a life achievement. You know what I mean? Like, of
Right,
course, working with them would be crazy. Like, I
right.
would love to, but Andre 3000 at the top of that list,
He's
because
on the
he's like, to me, the guy who, I'm not gonna say birthed Kendrick or birthed Jay Z, but J Cole, but like he's the guy that he made weird cool, and he made like
mm,
being yourself very very cool in the music. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
never portrayed anything else but him, which is amazing. And the coolest thing about him to this day, to me, which makes me feel good sometimes thinking about it, is that he feels like he's not good enough. Which I don't feel good that he feels like that, but it's like,
Right.
damn, no matter what, you're always gonna be chasing something as an artist.
Oh man, I think that's a human thing. I think that we should
Yeah,
constantly be the best versions of ourselves, and we should constantly keep growing and evolving in life. Period. Like the people that you would think that have made the highest of the heights, like Jay Z or Beyonce. For me personally, I just don't expect them to stay with it at. I expect them to grow and evolve. So for
yeah,
him, for Andre, that's amazing. That means that he's always on his grind, and his creativeness is always going to be there. Because some people can become complacent, and
yeah.
and it is what it is. So that I
Like,
mean that's a dope start. That is a dope start. Your explanation of as of why is even more super dope. So I had the pleasure of listening to one of your songs. It's called All Night. That's interesting. All Night. What inspired you to write that?
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. See, I love to ask those type of questions because it'd be amazing as to what the hell happened when some people be writing a song. So what happened?
So I mean, just to be straight up honest, like, it was one of those songs where it was like, uh, I wanted a song that would go and maybe, because I have never made a song like that before or since, because that was more like me in a way chasing a hit. So to be perfectly honest, that was like me stepping outside of myself
Hmm.
in a, maybe not the best way, because it didn't feel, I don't know, I don't want to bash the song at all. Like, I think it's a dope song, but I would just put it like, that's not really my style or my music or anything like that.
Right.
It's not something, huh?
No, I was saying right. So yeah, go ahead,
It,
continue.
it was one of those songs that my manager, like, yo, we gotta have one of these songs that breaks through, blah blah blah. Ironically, it was the stuff that I find more near and true to myself that ended up doing more of a breakthrough than that song. But long story short, the song's about fucking. I was just thinking about that. You know what I mean? Can I? Yeah. Yeah, it was just that's the song.
Oh man, that's the song. But that's amazing. Once again, doing something that you normally wouldn't do, and just to have it in the archives is super dope, like super super dope. But I gotta ask you a couple of questions, or personal questions, if you don't mind.
Of course, yeah.
Obviously you look like a ladies man. You look like, one of them ladies man, and I can just see you at your highest peak in your career, and all these ladies are just grabbing you. They're saying sway, sway. But you have a very strong and historical background. Do you care to share what that's all about?
Yeah,
I was, regarding your grandfather and your mom, you have a very strong and rebel and wonderful background.
I appreciate that a lot. I think I'm learning. So the thing is, with my family, we for some reason Jamaican people, I guess when it comes, let me not say that. My family specifically,
Hmm.
we kind of uh
Wait, did you say
unfortunately,
Jamaican? I know people are shocked, like, what?
right?
Yes.
Jam- yeah, Jamaican. So like they came to America, and unfortunately, a lot of what they call it is like Americanization or Americanized, something like that. That's kind of what it's called. So they ended up kind of getting into this system of being in America. You know what I mean? And we kind of lost our roots when it comes to what
Hmm.
my great grandfather did with his life. I ended up not being very much like uh, some people in my family. I'm more on the one of the things that I say is that I think segregation destroyed the black community. I think that
Hmm.
you know I don't want to say too much shit on I don't
Right,
want to go
on
too
air.
deep.
Yes, absolutely. I
You,
understand.
you
Hmm.
understand? Yeah. So like, I started speaking on that stuff, and I don't know where I had no idea where it really came from. But my grandma ended up telling me like her dad was Leonard Howe. I mean, she's been telling me these stories since I was a little kid. But I was like, oh wait, Leonard Howe, the founder of Rastafarianism. So I started looking deep into the guy, and it just made sense. Me and him are very similar in our views. I mean, he's an extremist, I think, when it comes to certain things.
Hmm.
I think a lot of what he says I stand by, but he's also an extremist, so it's not everything I stand by.
Hmm.
That's where the roots are, man. It's like very black empowerment with Marcus Garvey at a certain time. He was
Hmm.
with the Go Back to Africa movement at a certain point. He
Mm.
was one of the. I think how I look at him is more like how Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, they're two sides of the spectrum.
Right.
I feel like there was Marcus Garvey and then there was him, but he wasn't spoken about because he was too Malcolm X. You know what I mean?
Wow, that is amazing, and that's some deep history. I have a similar story to yours. My father's from Jamaica, and yes,
Mm-hmm.
they can be extremists, and I'm finding out that they were Maroons, so they was about that life. So yeah, and so my thing is, how are you going to balance out your very strong background while doing this music? Because I feel like sometimes when we speak about these certain topics, right? When we talk
Yeah.
about segregation, we talk about integration, and it's just like taboo for an artist to really speak about that. So, how important is it for you to kind of like balance that out? Because sometimes those things can really mess up your career. You
You're
know?
absolutely. I think the for me for my music reflects this stuff a lot, but I've come to realize that
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to get my foot inside of a door before I move in a direction where I'm the
Right.
guy who I really want to be. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
the person slash artist that I really want to be. My end goal is to completely leverage the black community's dollar and completely eradicate any type of oppression that we're dealing with. But at the same time, I can't go in preaching this. I've done it before. Like a lot of my music, early on music was all centered around that.
Hmm.
But I realized that's not exciting. That's not hip. That's not dope. You know what I mean? So I've switched my music to be more introspective and kind of
Right.
speak to a listener who will speak to a listener who's gone through similar traumas or similar highs and lows that I've went through
Hmm.
versus being that political fight the power. fuck the police. That guy.
Right,
Not
right.
hear that.
Which those things are very important. Sometimes we need to play those
Right,
things to get us to where we need to.
right.
But I definitely understand. I definitely understand, and I do wish you well. And I look forward to hearing certain messages in your music because that's the way you can express things. And I do appreciate that type of content in music. I feel like Jay Z does that a lot, and still, has
Yeah.
current music, but there's always a message behind it. So I can really
Yeah.
appreciate it so much. So tell me about some of the songs that you do have out right now. Besides the one I mentioned, is there any other songs that you have out right now that people
Yeah.
can go listen to?
The song that I mentioned before, "Piece by Piece,"
Yes.
that's one of like my favorite songs. It's a single, and I think it definitely hit the biggest out of any song that I've. "Piece by Piece." I have another song that I really like. It's about the over sexualization of the black community. It's layered and stuff, so it's like a little bit more interesting to listen to. But it's called "Hold You Back."
Hmm.
That's one of my favorite songs. And then I have a very large catalog of music. So if
Right.
you guys start by piece and just go down, you'll hear a lot.
Right. Oh man, piece by piece, over sexualization. That is something that I mentioned just short as of yesterday. Do you feel like that is presented a lot with a lot of female artists in the industry? Um,
Absolutely,
and what
like
about the
artists.
men? I feel like maybe the men surprisingly may be pressured into doing that a lot. I've been seeing a lot of men wearing dresses and skirts, and I don't see anything wrong with it. But at the same time, if it's not that person, and once again, I know people change, but that's just not who they are. Do you feel like it's pressure on the men's behalf as well?
That's a great question. I feel like if that's who you are, and that's the type, like for example, Young Thug. Nobody's gonna tell me Young Thug does not enjoy wearing dresses, and I don't think he's homosexual in any way. Even if he was,
No.
it's cool. Let him think. But I think that's Young Thug, and that's the type of artist he is. He wants to be. He likes. He's a very fluid guy, and you could tell by his music, his style, all that. But I
He's
feel like
always been that way, so it's nothing new, right?
that's him. But I feel like there's artists that will take a quick buck to, and maybe that's not even wearing dresses. Maybe that's doing
Hmm.
talking about uh fucking bit. You know what I mean? All the stuff that we do to ourselves in the black community,
Hmm.
in a way, like that's when it comes to like the whole selling your soul dynamic.
Hmm.
Because once you once you're pretending to be somebody you're not for money,
Hmm.
you self out. You know what I mean? Whether that's you putting on a dress, whether that's you disrespecting people that you know you shouldn't, whether that's talking about killing people. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of different ways that I feel like the black community is harmed by its own art, hip hop,
Hmm.
because the people that are governing it. But at the same time,
At the same
no,
time, yeah, we can grow. We can definitely grow,
yeah,
and it can evolve and stuff like that. Well, how important is it for you to kind of like keep your music, keep your image, keep what you're doing? Because sometimes you're so super dope. I wouldn't be surprised if a record label call you tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So
appreciate
when you open up the idea to allowing this record label to help you out and stuff like that, sometimes, well, I've heard so many times where they want to just change you completely. And now some people are open to it because they feel like, okay, well, look, they had the experience. They work with all these all these people who reach the highest of the charts. And then some people are like, hell no, I don't care what it is. You ain't touching my music and you ain't touching my style. So how
it.
important is that for you?
I would definitely be more on that type of
Yeah.
energy. But the thing is, I thought about this for a while. Like, would I be willing to sacrifice my dignity and who I am as an artist to get to where I want to get to?
Right.
I don't. I think there's no worse hell than being in a position where now I'm successful, I'm making money, I'm this, I'm that. Everybody knows who I am, but it's not me. How in the world can I? How would I be able to sleep at night? You know what I mean? Like, there's no. Of course, money eventually, like, I'm in no way a rich man. I'm pretty, I'm broke right now, but I do know for a fact that money is not something that's ever gonna solve real problems. Like, once you solve the problems that money has, the other problems are probably, if
Still
not
good.
just as bad, probably worse. So I know if I
Mhm.
destroy my image and be somebody else just to get money and get on a label and get famous, it would kill me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe,
It won't be you anymore.
hell, I would not want to do that though. I feel like that's why I don't really touch too much on the all night song because I had a little fear that that's
Don't
something would blow
worry.
up.
It's okay. I like it. Don't worry. Well, you still a great man. I'm not taking any points off. Like you see, these niggas ain't nothing. You see, look at him talking. I still hold you in high regards, King. Don't worry about it. See, you see the rebels start coming. That's the Jamaican side of you. That's the Jamaican side of you, man. I keep, I keep constantly hearing you, and I'm so grateful. I'm in deep gratitude of hearing you express yourself about the importance of the black community and what we deserve in our community. But you have another side of you, right? Another side of you as far as how you were made by your parents. Do you feel like anybody have the right to tell you that you ain't black? You ain't black.
I've heard from cousins, like from actual relatives. I had a conversation one time, and this dude was telling me, since my father is a white man, that I'm technically a white man, or I am a white man, some shit like that. And I think that it is the most ignorant, stupid, one of the most ignorant, stupid things that I've ever heard.
Right.
Because it's like if I could get me some white privilege, you know.
I don't wait. I swear. You know what? I'm sorry. I don't think you can because the black side. We see more of the black side. Anything. It ain't happening.
You see their point. If I was able to come up with some white privilege, maybe I could see it. But like when a cop stops me, I don't think the cop is thinking, "Oh, his father's white. He's a white." When a judge sees me, when the white community, white people, when I say white, I don't mean white human beings because white is more of an ideology to me. When the white supremacy of America sees me, I don't think they see me as a fellow white man. I get where the anger comes from, though. You know what I mean? I'm not ignorant to the fact that me being half white, being green-eyed, and having different colored different textured hair or whatever, it does come with some form of privilege. Like the fact that it's a little deep, but my mom named me, or my mom, I don't know if I should say this, but my mom basically had, she was with a white man for specific reasons because she figured I would have more advantages in life if she had a white baby. You know what I mean? So there is colorism. Colorism is a real thing. My great grandmother would treat me so much better than she would treat my darker skin tone cousin. Right. So I'm not ignorant to the fact that there is realities, but there is disparities between me and a darker skinned person. But the thing is how the fuck we can't fight each other because then we're, how stupid that is. Like the person that is putting us against each other, they're the real person who is the enemy. You know what I mean? If there is an enemy to be had, you know what I mean? They're the real person who is.
There's enemies, and division is what is keeping us in the position we are in today. And it's great for you to have that conversation because within your music career, I'm pretty sure you're going to get that a lot. And it's unfair and it's unjust because you're black, okay? You're black as black, you're black mind, okay? So, but it's so uplifting for you to speak about, the disparities and, acknowledging what does go on, but that doesn't take away from the fact of who you are. I just had to ask that. We put it out there in the universe. It's done and it's over with. You know what I'm saying? So now I just want to know mentally your process when you make your music, because obviously you got so much to write about from that specific situation we just spoke about, from you moving from your childhood. So how does this process happen? Like, do you hear the beat and because everybody have their own way of how they make and create their songs. Like, how is it for you? Like, do you have to hear the beat first? Do you have to, or you just make your song and then find the beat for the song? How does it happen? Most of the time.
Most of the time, the beat is going to be the thing that speaks to me, right? I produce my own music a lot. So when I'm sitting there, when I'm working on a beat for myself, I'll sit there and I'm hearing, like as of late, actually, more recent, then my process now has become more like I'll create a cinematic feeling experience that I want the person listening to I want them to hear it and feel it. I don't want you to just press play on my music and go clean, or you know what I mean. It's not like it's a bad thing if that happens, but I want the listener experiencing my music to be like, whoa, like this is what I'm listening to and this is it. Like I don't want to hear. I'm not doing nothing else. I'm just listening. I'm tuned in.
Right.
So my a lot from like imagery. I think a lot in like I'm a movie addict. I love movies, so I think a lot about directors and how they shoot and stuff like that. And I'll try to think of that while I'm making my song. So I think of the music video that would go with the song. Hence, like when I spoke about the short movie, like that creative process for me has shown to be the most successful. I feel like I'm able to be more creative, more myself, more like I put more humor into it. I'm able to be who I want to be when I create like that versus what sad emotion or happy emotion am I going to tap into? You know what I mean?
Wow. And so you kind of produce most of your records. So
I would say a good 70%. So like the ones that we spoke on piece by piece and all night, other producers. I'm sorry to cut you off, but most of them.
No, you're not cutting me off. Wow. Okay, that's a new for me hearing that from an artist because that's like a big plate to fill, and for you to be able to juggle that, that just shows your creativeness. So, outside of that, you got a movie coming out. Let's talk about it. What's that all about?
So the short movie, shout out to my dude John Dang. He's gonna be directing the whole thing. He's directing and he helped me like come up with the screenplay. It's really a dive into damn near everything we spoke on, except for maybe the Rastafarian side and the Black empowerment side. I kind of left that away because I want the person who listens to this, I want them to really know me and me when it comes to my upbringing, versus anything else. So the movie is really about a fight between myself and the outside world mixed with just crazy theatrics that come along with it. Like it's gonna be one of those really crazy things.
That sounds dope. I definitely look forward to seeing that, the creativeness with that, and see where that goes, especially given your background. So you're trying to incorporate that all. And obviously, I take it that your music is going to be in there as well.
So, yeah, so it's basically, you're going to be watching, depending on where you watch it, it's going to be episodic versus / you press play and you're going to just watch a movie, and my music is going to be the movie, right? So it's going to be the music is the movie, but it's not a music video. It's more like it's kind of hard to explain unless I'm showing you, but yeah, it's pretty much around my project.
Wow. Yeah, if it's hard to explain, that's gonna be some deep shit. I can't wait to see that. No, when is that coming out? Forget about the music now. I'm concentrating on that. No shade.
I don't have a date yet.
Okay.
Specific rollout that I'm trying to do, and you can't chase perfection, but I'm trying to get close with this one.
Okay.
I'm looking for a really specific rollout, so I don't want to say it's coming out. It's definitely coming out 2022, guaranteed.
Okay.
The quarter of 2022 at the latest, possibly the last quarter of this year, potentially next year though, more than any likely.
All right, man. So for all you guys that's going to be listening to this, make sure y'all go and check that out. That sounds super dope. It may be so dope that you might become an actor or a movie director, and the next thing you know, it's like, I got a different opportunity, guys. Forget the music. But that sounds kind of deep, man. That sounds really, really deep. I don't know if the engineer, whenever you're ready, if you want to play his music, we can definitely play it. But in the meantime, we're just going to go on with this conversation. I don't want to hold you too long, but the conversation is so fruitful, and I appreciate you once again coming on. So with that being said, I know that you know about the versus battle, right? Like these people, these artists that are coming on or whatever. I've been asking people lately, like if you could give me 2 or 4 people that you feel would be worthy, and to pair them up and put them on that battle, who would they be?
Ooh, good question. I would say, oh yeah, dang, let me think.
Shoot, you know, people been coming up with some good ones. I'm like, ooh, okay.
That, man, I don't know. I think the ones that I really wanted to see, they already happened, but I'm trying to think.
Okay.
I would see like Outcast versus. Sorry, I'm getting a call. 1 second.
Okay, no
I
problem.
would like to see Outcast versus. I don't know who can stand up to Outcast. Damn.
You know what? There has been someone who mentioned them, and Shaka, do you remember who they mentioned with Outkast? I do remember their name coming up. Who? Camp Low.
Mm.
Have you ever heard of Camp Low?
No, I haven't.
Okay. He said, "Oh my God." That's my engineer back there. He said, "Oh my God." So you know you got some research to do, right, King?
Guys,
Okay.
put me on the spot. They're gonna call me out for this one.
Uh oh. Uh oh. Uh oh.
And they from the Bronx.
Uh oh. Uh
Man,
oh. Oh man, you in big trouble. You in big trouble.
So either that, you could say, how about Arrested Development?
Arrested Development.
okay. I feel
Okay.
like Outcast blows them out the water. I feel like Outcast may not have very serious competition.
Ooh.
Right.
What about?
They're unique in their own right because they're so eclectic in their style that you can't really pair them with somebody like them because there's nobody like them.
That's a fact. That's why. That's one of the craziest things about them. It's hard to really find someone to compete with them.
Yeah. Now you know what? The only people who come within, I say maybe a mile, maybe, will be Far Side.
Is who?
Far Side.
Far
Mm.
Side.
I,
Well,
I can
I
see that.
haven't heard of Far Side before.
Close because they have the same dynamic,
Uh huh.
but it's just coming from a West Coast perspective.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Mm. Okay.
They're probably the only ones. I mean, you talking to a walking hip hop almanac right now. So you know what I'm saying. This is where I can pull out these names, and some of them you may know.
Are
Some
you
of them you
telling
may
your
not.
age?
No,
Wait, go ahead.
no. I mean, listen. I'm not ashamed of my age because I've been blessed to watch four transitions of hip hop music.
Real. Yeah, you're right. That's pretty crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Amazing.
I was a little kid. Well, we ain't gonna go into all that. We ain't gonna go. But you know what I'm saying? Like one day when we're in person,
Right.
Mm.
we can sit and build, and you'll see how vast the game is, and you'll see how similar music is in each era. Because
Yeah.
the music is not very different. It's just the timing, the content, most of the subject matter,
Love that.
and what influences the music.
I
Yeah.
don't know about drill.
I love that perspective, especially coming from someone who's seen the evolution, man. Because a lot of people who have been around since the beginning are like, it's not the same, it's whack now, blah blah blah. But I feel like there's a certain evolution. Of course, the mainstream is always going to be mainstream, right? But
Mm-hmm.
the evolution coming with hip hop, I'm glad to hear you saying that because I feel like it's a lot like the '90s, the '80s. It's coming. I feel like it's just coming full circle in a very different way, unique.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree. I
history
agree with
always
that.
repeats itself.
It definitely repeats itself. So
Mhm.
yeah, we're definitely going into a different era, and but I think the era you're going to see more music coming that sounds like the eras are combined. You know,
Ooh.
the eras are going to combine because you're going to have listen the souls that are manifested now are souls that were here. You know
Ooh.
what I
Yep.
mean?
That's them
So
ancestors
that
and
energy is going to be recycled, and that energy is going to come forth in a way that we may not expect it or see coming. But
Absolutely. It.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. So I mean,
well,
the
speaking of
best is
that,
yet to come in my eyes. The best is yet to come.
with speaking of that, because he has seen many four eras in music thus so far, and he ain't that old. We ain't gonna put that.
I ain't down.
So but how, like, do you feel like, because I feel like people put certain rules into anything, and so do you feel like that there should be a age stamped on when you can start to when you can pursue a career in the music industry? Because people, it's just mind blowing to me. Oh, well, you 25, you it's too late for you, or you're 30. You just, you know what I mean? Like, how do you feel about that?
I think people who say that are antiquated human beings themselves because they just don't understand that. Like, there's really no like age comes to music is if you really think about it, it's only with hip hop that people say this shit. Um,
Oh, yes, go ahead. Talk
yeah,
your
you look
stuff.
at say it again.
No, I said talk your stuff. Go ahead. I
But
like that. And that's
you look,
that's a great observation. It's only with hip hop. Wow, now you gave me a different thought about it. But go ahead.
you really think deep on it. I'm not gonna say it's a conspiracy theory, but it's definitely there's definitely rules being placed on hip hop that are not the same for other genres. The power of hip hop is far beyond every other genre, based off the fact that hip hop includes every other genre in itself. So hip hop is going to become I mean, it already is, but it's going to become even more the only genre the more it evolves. But anyway, like if you look at rock and roll, a lot of the old dudes are still touring. A lot of the old dudes are just now dying that literally, I'm not going to say started rock and roll because they absolutely didn't.
Nope, they
I would say
haven't. Yep.
rock and roll they stole from the artists and they really made it more mainstream. Those guys are just now dying and they're still touring, they're still up, they're still doing everything. If you Jay-Z, if you look at Griselda, if you look at a lot of the older artists that are going, a lot of them are very conscious and a lot of them are very they're always dropping some form of a gem. Now I think that the reason that they're trying to stop older people from being in this music genre is because look at what the young dudes are talking about. You know what I mean? They want to keep it in that aspect. That's just my personal opinion. I could be completely wrong.
But
in saying
I concur with your personal opinion. Okay, I agree with that. Is you just expanded my mind and made me think about this stuff. I never really thought about that because the older you get, not to say that the youth can't teach the old something, but you're in a different time zone. You're in a different type of consciousness. For some of us, some elders are still stuck into their childlike mind, although we all have it, but they're stuck and they're not evolving. So, obviously an older person is going to come with some good substance that can be influential to the youth. You know what I'm saying? So, wow, man, I never really thought about that. That's y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? This is some BS. All right? So, I mean, my message to you, and you can give a message to the older cats, man. Go out there and get your music out there, man. If you know you got it like that, put your music out. Don't worry about if you 40. Don't worry about nothing. Put your music out.
But you know
should
what?
we,
You know what? Also, that's what I think this previous versus battle was about. Exactly what we're talking about.
yeah,
Because you're shining light on a generation who don't even really know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Your impact on what makes them love the music that they love.
And I think
yeah,
Jadakiss said something like that. At least the youth know who I am, or something like that. After he
Right,
did
because
his thing,
he understands that there's people out there. There's, you know, I mean, Jade ain't that old. He might be,
he might have felt old because he put that
right.
statement out there.
He's up there.
He ain't
But
that
he
old.
knows
Yeah.
that there might be a 20-year-old or
Don't
a
know who the hell he
18-year-old,
is.
a 15-year-old who don't know who he is like that.
yeah,
They might have heard about him,
Right.
but they may not even be able to put an image of them in their mind and go,
exactly.
okay, such and such and such, hear all of the music because they have a, like he himself flock.
You press that off. Somebody's calling. Go ahead.
Vast
Mhm.
catalog.
Exactly.
And it's up to the thing is young the younger people, have a responsibility
Mm.
to go back and listen and study their predecessors.
Oh man, that was gonna be my next question. How
They
do
have
you feel like
responsibility.
it's important for the youth to go back and study the history of hip hop in particular, but music in general? How do you think it's important, like for the young generation to study that, and why? Why do you think it's
So
important?
I got a couple of I got mixed feelings when it comes to that. I think
Mm.
I think it's I don't I'm not gonna say I think it's a necessity. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be a hypocrite if I said that because I'm not. You just brought up a couple. You spoke on some groups that I have no idea who they are. So I haven't done enough research.
Right.
I'm not a history buff when it comes to hip hop. So I don't think it's absolutely necessary to be a creator and study the history and everything like that. I
Mm-hmm.
think it is definitely a responsibility. I think that anyone who's in hip hop should know and have an idea. Which I've been doing more in the past year than I've ever done
Right.
on the history of hip hop, the people who put it together, the people who really made this shit what it is. You know what I mean? Like I think
Mm-hmm.
there is a responsibility, but to be a creator, I don't think it's a necessity. If
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense, you know what I mean?
Right. Right. I mean, it do make sense. It makes sense, and I see where you're coming from. For me, I think going back and learning about it, it expands you as an artist, right?
Yep.
Because you see what the origin is. It also preserve because that is the root of where things started. You have that. You may feel that you have the obligation to preserve it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like now, some of the old cats come up there, and you might say, "Who's this dude?" or whatever, and you just, just be gone with them. But when you have a great level of respect now for the generation that paved the way for you to be where you at right now. But I think overall, just music, you should just be studying all types of music because I feel like it would expand someone's mind as an
Absolutely.
artist because you
Absolutely.
start to know where certain I hear Shaka because he's an engineer, and so he do this something called mixing, or not mixing, but he what do you call it, where you take an old beat and you kind of like recreate it, and then
Yes.
sample, you call it a sample.
Yeah.
You see, this is how you know
Yeah.
I'm not an artist.
That's that's like that's how I learned to produce. I have an MPC, and that's where I produce. Like I would say, a good 80% of my beats came from sampling. So I'm not gonna. I have not really studied the history of hip hop, but the history of just music in general, soul, all that stuff. Like that was where a big bulk of my history comes from because I got so heavily into sampling. I used to obsess over Kanye with the
I love
MPC. I
Kanye.
bought myself one, and then I started actually sampling records and go. I would go crate digging every week. I would even take my daughter sometimes, have her pick up a record, and I started like really diving into the. That's why Nina Simone became one of my. I mean,
Mm.
my is my top artist because of that. I just like the impact Nina Simone had as a human
Oh man.
in music and the bravery, the fearless, all
It's,
that shit was just crazy to me. So like that's where my history is. But
it's
hip hop also was very important to
right.
to
Man, Nina Simone, unmatched, man. I love her. She just was an amazing,
rip.
amazing human being, and I give thanks for her. Well, with that being said, man, do you have any merch out? And I do have one more question. I know you're heavily into this craft, this music, and it's amazing. But what else? What other talents you have that people don't know about? He like, ooh, what are you doing? Are you a hairstylist on the down low? What are you doing?
I don't have balance. I'm not gonna lie to you. I produce. I engineer. I
Okay,
oh, I don't have. I mean, I'm getting into videography, but I guess that comes with the media.
right.
I I guess my other talent, as cliche as it sounds, I'm a good dad.
Oh, and there's nothing wrong with that. But engineering in itself is a talent. You know, I mean, you can easily fall back and just be an engineer and be a dope one to other artists. So that don't get that twisted. But that's good. You know, I always ask. I always ask. With that being said, man, you do you just give the people your social media? We would love for you to come back. I want to ask my engineer, do you have any questions for him? Because you know he's kind of like slash my co-host. Do you have any questions?
No. What uh I personally appreciate your mindset, your approach, and your style. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because the way that hip hop is being portrayed and being projected, they're making it very violent. They're making it very low frequency. You know,
Yeah.
because we all know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
They want to
We can't say
they
everything
want
up
to
here.
do, yeah, they want to do what they doing. You know what I mean, and keep
They
people
know
distracted.
exactly.
You know, but I do appreciate that, and I think that with artists who are very self-aware and and
Mm.
and environmentally aware, we need that because
Mm.
again, you're a father, I'm a father, she's a mother.
Mm-hmm.
We have another generation that we have to teach. You know,
They're watching.
right? They're
Mm.
watching, and they're picking it up quicker than we did when we were their age.
These are the
They're
millennial babies. Woo.
seeing it on the phones. They're absorbing, and not only that, I've noticed in my own daughter, like they're just more intelligent than we were, man. Like it's impossible for them not to be. They have the internet at their fingertips. They can ask a question to Google and find out in seconds. So it's like they're much more intelligent than we are. So we got to really be careful of what we're saying. That's why I try to think about the music I put out before I put it out. That's why I have a lot of integrity with even following this path at times when I don't want to, because I feel like, my daughter's looking at what I'm doing. I can't just half-ass what I'm doing. So I completely agree, and I appreciate you saying that too, man. Thank you.
Mm.
No doubt.
Come on, man. We gotta appreciate that.
Like you said, when you have a whole generation, and see the thing about it is this: people are not making timeless music like
Mm.
Yep.
at a certain point. The establishment knows that if we keep them here in this box, we can easily move them in the direction that we want to move them in.
Which is never really a good one.
Right? They want to keep us running in that hamster wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So if we start to formulate, get together with bright minds like yourself, you know what I'm saying, and start to put things together where we can create a network that shows a different initiative, a different narrative.
And there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that.
We have to find a way to make a outlet that is parallel to what's going on now.
Mm.
It's always been done. That's where the underground came from.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
That's where the underground came from, because you had budding artists who had different perspectives from what the mainstream thought the people wanted to hear.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it.
Right. I feel like right now the underground is definitely, if not as loud, maybe not in the maybe not the same, but I feel like the underground right now, the fact that we have so many tools at our disposal when it comes to knowing you can market yourself, you can damn near do anything you want yourself now and go up. The underground has a lot more power than it ever has had. Like from Mick Jenkins to this dude Alex Watt. There's so many amazing artists that are like, they're not mainstream, but they're living off their music. They have huge audience and they're very intelligent creatives. So I think we're there, man. I think it's maybe not as out there as we would want it to be yet, but there's a major shift coming in music that even if you think about this for a second, Lil Baby, right? you don't think of him as a conscious rapper. You wouldn't think of him as a conscious artist. You think of him as not you specifically. I'm not talking about you guys,
Right,
but most people.
right. Because he definitely has some great substance and content within his music. And when you sit down and listen,
Crazy.
I'm like, wow, you know?
Yeah. So shift is coming. So I believe a shift is definitely on its
Right.
way.
And for him to be that type of artist and go mainstream is very amazing to me because those words are very deep to
Great.
me, very deep. So,
Hmm.
I mean, I definitely see, I see the baby in a different light. I
yeah,
see
when you see
he's
his, when you
not,
listen to
you
his
know,
words,
he is a little more than what I thought he was. You know
right,
what I mean?
Yeah.
right, right,
So shout out to that brother. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
yeah.
I mean, there are some artists, and you know what? They are aware of that too, which makes it
That's why he got a lot of
even more
backlash for what
poignant
he
to
said.
what you're saying, that there are artists out there that are aware of what the power of the music, you know. So you have people like that brother there who can give them what they want in order to give them what they need later on.
Real
Mm,
shit.
You know what I'm saying?
deep, deep.
So
So are we gonna play his music? We're gonna play some of the music,
um
and then we'll come back. We'll give out all the social media handle. I know we stayed longer than we expected to, but sometimes when you just have this fruitful conversations with such an
Real.
intelligent and
Right?
conscious mind, man, you wanna keep the people on for a little bit longer. So we do apologize, but we're
yeah,
gonna let y'all
Okay.
hear this music.
and we would definitely like to, because we know that this, you know, we were kind of
Yeah, we're very
we were kind of informed that this was going to be an
right. Not an in person, but I might have.
Instagram. No. Well, I'm talking about the Instagram live.
Right.
I would like to take this conversation
Mm,
and do it on Instagram live another day,
mm.
where we can kind of, you know, interact with the community and see
Yeah.
where, you know, where they stand with all of this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We can do a survey too because there's a lot of people who just want people to be the first start in the conversation, and then it be like that sometimes, And music is very powerful, is very impactful, and so we have to make sure that we have great content coming out, always coming out. No shade to other people, but we just want to make sure we have great content that our children can look to and reference and also get that good vibration going, especially during these hard times. It's very important. It's very
Facts.
important.
I'd love to. Yeah. Just keep me posted.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely want to do that.
So are we ready?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. So what we
Because I was trying, I got so caught up in the conversation that, you know,
Words.
I was trying to grab a specific song. Now, speaking of which, uh, let me ask you about "We Don't Sleep."
mm,
That
Us?
particular song and video. What was the inspiration on that song?
because that's the one that he's going to play if you don't mind. Or is there another one that you would prefer for him to play outside of
Um.
We Don't Sleep?
Yeah, which one would you like to play?
I feel like we don't sleep is kind of like there's genuinely like nothing that I like that song a lot, but it was a song I was just like, I'll make a song. The most recent song I think that is really cool though, like, that speaks more on me as an artist now is Contagious.
Mm.
I looked at that song and I was like, is that the song? All right, you
Contagious.
know what? Let me stop this one. Let me stop.
Contagious. Mm. What was that all about?
All right, yeah.
Uh,
What was the inspiration on Contagious? I should ask now, because that one, you know, we want to know more about the 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 process. Like the audience is gonna, you know, they're gonna
Is that it? Did
In
you
order,
find it?
no, 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 that's not it. In order to give them a greater perspective on the artist, how the music comes about, why the music comes about, and what they expect from from the audience when they hear it, or what they're hoping the 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 impact is, you know. So what was your inspiration on that? Let me. I don't want to stop.
So
Let me
I
stop.
was I was I was doing psychedelics and I was sitting and
What? Okay, I like this. Okay.
yep.
Only on
I was
House
like,
of Harlem, you guys. You always gonna get the naked truth. But go ahead.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm not gonna go specifics, but I was there and I was meditating and I was kind of thinking of I was meditating on the fact that people are so consumed by technology that
Mm.
we don't really see what's going on elsewhere. You know what I mean? Kind of like the Matrix thing, how we're just locked into a zone. That's really where it started, and I kind of just went deep onto those layers. And when I was creating the song, it was really to speak on that topic. Like, it's
Mm.
not a very spoken topic because it's not, you know, it's not one of those things that people really think about. I feel like, but it's really, to me, I think it should be spoken on more because we're consumed so much by technology, we're consumed so much by outside things that we kind of are losing ourselves in it. If that makes sense.
Man, oh man, why you had to go and say it, boy? I tell you, boy,
Now,
I can. We could be here for hours if I give you my sentiments
yeah,
about
but you
that.
know what?
Oh
What I
man.
want to ask you is because we got a brother that that kind
Mm.
of is our spiritual guide.
Yeah, you could
In
say he's
regard,
our spiritual
yeah,
guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's a spiritual brother. I say here I wear a necklace that he made because he deals with crystals, he deals with orgone,
And I think
and
Sway would really like him too.
that type of stuff.
Right.
And he's really big on frequencies. But are you familiar? Since we're talking about psychedelics now, are you familiar? What was that?
Toad or Todd.
It's toe foot or
I don't know about
toe,
Toad, but just Toad. Yeah.
DMT.
huh?
Are you
DMT.
talking DMT?
Now it's something that is given. Well, it's from South America,
Yeah.
and
So there's, I'm not to cut you off, sorry,
yeah.
but it there's different terminologies for it. It's DMT. Well, no, let me not say that. So DMT is the thing that's in our brain, in any living being's brain, right? Or
Yeah.
any makeup. It's a chemical, DMT. I could be, you know, I don't not a,
Nah,
you know, I don't.
you on it,
No, no,
you on
you
it,
are
you
because
on
the
it.
the
Listen, you talking to the choir right
you yeah.
now.
You talking to the right people.
We
Well,
on
we
we
just
on
can't
that
be a
frequency.
yeah. We
So
just
yeah,
can't say
We
everything.
trying to be a little diplomatic
We try to be
about
yes,
how we express it, but
yes.
we're actually
You're preaching to the choir.
we're there.
We're there.
oh my god. So I'm sorry. I hate to do this to you guys. It's such a great topic,
Right.
but my dog just had puppies,
Oh.
and like complication. My girlfriend just told me there's some
Oh
complication
no,
going on.
no. Go ahead and handle that, King.
Hey, bro,
Listen,
congratulations. You know what I'm saying?
you're a new
Hope
father out
everything
there.
is well. Yeah, you're a new pup
Listen,
dad,
man, we'll
pup
revisit
granddad.
this. Right, we'll play your song and we'll revisit this because we're gonna talk about the pandemic anyway. So you go ahead and sign off. We will keep in contact with you and we'll do this another
Okay.
time. All right.
So,
I hope
so thank
everything.
you so much for having me on.
Okay. Okay.
All right,
Goodbye.
no doubt, bro.
Bye bye.
Right.
What?
Let me cut him off. Okay. Woo. Oh man, guys, are we still live?
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, man, it just be those conversations for me that are just so, I mean, the word for me is just fruitful, very fruitful, and just the vibes. You know what I'm saying? The energy is just real, and that is one of those interviews that I really really love. And I had two back to back, so I am just so grateful. Shout out to Tuesday. Shout out to Lizzie for those. I appreciate you guys so much, man. It's just a breath of fresh air when you got some great energy around you, man. You can never complain about that. You can never complain.
Yeah, and if you get it, when you get a chance, hit the brother John Sway up. You know what I mean?
Please do.
Check him out on YouTube. He has a channel. He has quite a few videos up there.
Yes.
And the brother is definitely on the proper frequency when it comes down to his creative prowess and
Right.
his intent to impact his audience.
And in
So
our
give a-
opinion, okay, no shade or
Man, it ain't even my opinion. I'm speaking facts.
Okay, you want to go there?
You know what I'm saying? Whoever want to challenge me, let's get it. You know what I mean? I don't even care right now, right?
That's what's up.
My mind is is different right now. So
That's good.
my thing is, give that brother a shout. Let him know. You know what I'm
Please
saying?
do.
You check them out
Let
on
me
House
find-
of
we
Harlem
gonna subscribe.
TV,
House of Harlem is gonna
and
subscribe.
we definitely gonna subscribe to him.
And we going
You know what I
we going
mean?
to get
And
his
we gonna-
music.
we gonna
We're
keep
going to
it-
figure out where all the music on what platform his music is on. Hopefully, it's on all major platforms.
Yeah, but the videos you could definitely check him out on YouTube. The ones that he featured, you can check him out on YouTube.
So moving on, I don't know if you want to get some people in the chat. You know, we can continue last night's conversation in regards to this pandemic. I will say that
Well, you know what? What I think is, I think we should, leave it where it's at, because we don't want to do anything to overshadow the great conversation that we just
it's
had.
amazing.
So
Amazing.
if we do anything, we may go live on Instagram or we may go live on stereo, and we're going to go in knee deep on all of this debauchery. You know what I'm saying? We don't have no time to be playing no games and shucking and jiving with anybody. We here to bring receipts, and if receipts you want, receipts are what you're going to get. So, I appreciate the brother John Sway for coming on, and we definitely going to build with him. You're going to see more of him in this circle moving forward, and I'm sure it's going to be reciprocated.
We definitely going to get that brother on to have some more other conversations, if he don't mind, because at the end of the day, he's an artist, so you got to make sure that he is presented in the right light. But definitely, I enjoyed every bit of his conversation.
Yeah. So on that note, we've reached the apex. We don't want to go too long-winded with it. This was a great conversation, and for everybody that's tuned in, shout out to you. Give yourself a round of applause. Give yourself a big up and everything. For the hostess with the mostest, Kia L. I'm Shaka L. Bay. Shout out to the co-host Waji, and our chat room squad that's always on deck, and keeping people in check. This is House of Harlem Studio, and we got so much love for y'all. Keep the faith, and check us out on Instagram and Facebook for our groups. All you got to do is type in House of Harlem, and I'm sure it'll pop up. You'll be able to see it, and you can join. And trust me, we're going to take you on a roller coaster with it. So.
And pretty soon, look out, House of Harlem TV is going to be digging deep into the health and wealth. We got a big project coming up pretty soon. I can't wait to announce it once it's finished.
Yes.
Get on my nerves. So we have other things that we're digging into, and other events that we're going to be doing. So just stay tuned. Stay tuned.
No doubt. Peace and love, everybody. We
Peace,
out
love,
of
and
here.
light. Mwah.